Once you cross the age of 50, your body starts sending you subtle signals. Some you notice, like tiredness or forgetfulness. Others slip by unnoticed or are chalked up to just getting older. But what if those symptoms were actually signs of something deeper? Something hiding beneath the surface that millions overlook until it's too late? We're talking about your thyroid. The thyroid may be small, just a butterfly-shaped gland sitting low in your neck, but it controls some of the most critical processes in your body: metabolism, energy, heart rate, weight, mood, even your digestion and memory. After 50, especially for women, thyroid disorders skyrocket. Yet, many doctors miss it.
Why?
Because the symptoms often look like normal aging. In this video, we're going deep into what happens to your thyroid after 50, what signs you must never ignore, and why so many people suffer in silence, misdiagnosed for years. If you're feeling more tired, gaining weight for no reason, losing hair, or having memory fog, you need to hear this. I'm Dr. Ryan Moore, Senior Health Physician with 28 years of experience, and today I'm going to explain the real deal about thyroid dysfunction after age 50. Get ready. This is information most people won't tell you until it's too late. How your thyroid works and what changes after 50. Let's start by understanding what the thyroid does. The thyroid gland produces hormones, mainly T3, triiodothyronine, and T4, thyroxine, that regulate your metabolism. Think of these hormones like the gas pedal in your car. They help your body convert food into energy, maintain your body temperature, and support brain function, digestion, and heart health. Now, here's the catch. As we age, the thyroid becomes more vulnerable to dysfunction. This is especially true after 50, and it hits women harder, mostly because of hormonal shifts after menopause. In fact, women over 50 are up to 8 times more likely to develop thyroid disease than men. There are 2 primary types of thyroid dysfunction. Hypothyroidism. This is when your thyroid becomes underactive and doesn't produce enough hormones. It slows everything down. Hyperthyroidism. This is when your thyroid goes into overdrive and makes too much hormone, speeding everything up. After 50, hypothyroidism is far more common, especially due to an autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, where your own immune system attacks the thyroid. But here's the scary part: it doesn't always show up with big, bold symptoms. Instead, it creeps in slowly, blending in with what many people assume is just normal aging. Let me walk you through what starts to happen. You begin to feel tired, more than usual. You find it hard to get out of bed in the morning. But you think, I'm getting older, that's expected. Your memory feels cloudy. You forget names, appointments, or even why you walked into a room. Again, it gets blamed on aging. You gain 5, 10, maybe 15 pounds, even though your eating habits haven't changed. You try to cut calories, exercise more, but the weight won't budge. Another sign dismissed as aging. Then come the more alarming ones. Your skin gets dry. Your hair starts falling out more than usual. Your eyebrows thin out, especially the outer third. Your nails become brittle. You feel cold all the time, even when everyone else is comfortable. Your mood starts shifting. You may feel more anxious, depressed, or emotionally flat. You lose interest in things you once enjoyed. This leads many doctors to prescribe antidepressants without checking thyroid levels. These aren't just symptoms of aging, they are textbook signs of thyroid dysfunction. What makes things more complicated is that thyroid symptoms don't show up all at once. They appear slowly, over time, and are often vague. This is why many primary care doctors miss it, especially if they're not running a complete thyroid panel. A typical doctor might just test TSH, thyroid-stimulating hormone. If that comes back normal, they assume your thyroid is fine. But here's the truth. You can have normal TSH and still have low T3 or T4, or even thyroid antibodies indicating Hashimoto's. Without testing free T3, free T4, reverse T3, and TPO antibodies, your doctor could easily miss what's going on. In my practice, I've seen patients misdiagnosed for years. One woman came in with fatigue, memory loss, constipation, and hair thinning. Her doctor told her she was just stressed and aging. When I ran a full thyroid panel, she had extremely low T3 and elevated TPO antibodies, classic Hashimoto's hypothyroidism. She told me, "Dr. Moore, I thought I was just getting old. I had no idea it was my thyroid." And that's the real tragedy here. People suffer unnecessarily because the signs are easy to miss and the proper tests aren't being run. Another thing to watch for is goiter, a swelling of the thyroid gland. You might notice a lump in your neck or feel a tightness when swallowing. Don't ignore this. It can be a sign of an underactive or overactive thyroid, or even thyroid nodules. Now let's talk about the connection between menopause and thyroid issues. When estrogen levels drop, it affects how your body uses thyroid hormone. This makes thyroid symptoms worse, even if your hormone levels haven't changed drastically. That's why so many women in their 50s suddenly feel off, but don't know why. The overlap between menopause and thyroid dysfunction is a gray zone where many symptoms get dismissed. Doctors might say, "It's just menopause," or "It's normal aging," and send you home without running the right tests. But you don't have to accept fatigue, weight gain, memory issues, and depression as your new normal. Hidden symptoms and triggers of thyroid dysfunction after 50. If you're over 50, your thyroid may already be under pressure, and you might not even know it. Most people imagine thyroid problems as either extreme weight gain or bulging eyes. But the truth is, the symptoms are much more subtle, and they often affect your quality of life long before they show up on a lab test. Let's go through a list of symptoms that should never be ignored, especially after age 50. Common, but overlooked, symptoms of hypothyroidism, underactive thyroid. Chronic fatigue, feeling exhausted even after a full night's sleep. Weight gain, especially around the belly and hips, despite normal eating. Cold intolerance, always feeling colder than others. Constipation, regular bowel movements slowing down. Hair thinning or hair loss, especially in women, thinning along the hairline or losing eyebrow hair. Dry, flaky skin, not explained by weather changes. Depression or low mood, a flat feeling, loss of interest, or hopelessness. Brain fog or memory loss, trouble concentrating, forgetting words, or losing your train of thought mid-sentence. Slow heart rate, often noticed during checkups but rarely connected to the thyroid. Heavy or irregular periods, a sign of hormonal imbalance linked to thyroid function. Now, let's not forget hyperthyroidism, overactive thyroid, which is less common but equally serious, especially if undiagnosed. Signs of hyperthyroidism after 50. Unexpected weight loss, even with normal or increased appetite. Anxiety or restlessness, feeling on edge or irritable. Rapid or irregular heartbeat, sometimes mistaken for panic attacks. Tremors, slight shaking of the hands or fingers. Excessive sweating, even when others feel comfortable. Muscle weakness, especially in the upper arms or thighs. Sleep disturbances, difficulty falling or staying asleep. Many people go through these symptoms and don't think twice. They're told it's just stress, just aging, or just hormonal changes. But if these signs persist, your thyroid could be quietly malfunctioning and causing chaos behind the scenes. So why does this happen after 50? Let's look at some of the hidden triggers that contribute to thyroid problems as we age. 1. Nutrient deficiencies. After 50, your body's ability to absorb nutrients declines. That includes some of the critical nutrients your thyroid needs to function properly. Iodine, essential for making thyroid hormones. A deficiency can lead to goiter or hypothyroidism. Selenium helps convert T4 to the more active T3 hormone. Zinc, important for hormone production and immune regulation. Iron, low ferritin levels can mimic hypothyroid symptoms even if your thyroid labs aren't normal. Vitamin D supports immune function and can help regulate autoimmune activity affecting the thyroid. Many people over 50 are unknowingly deficient in these nutrients, and without proper testing, they may go untreated. 2. Chronic stress. Chronic stress raises cortisol, a hormone that works against your thyroid. High cortisol levels suppress the production of TSH and reduce the conversion of T4 to T3. Over time, this leads to fatigue, brain fog, and weight gain, exactly the symptoms we just discussed. After 50, stress from work, family responsibilities, illness, or retirement fears can silently wear down your thyroid system. And if cortisol remains high, your thyroid may start to downregulate to conserve energy, causing a functional hypothyroid state that won't show up on standard tests. 3. Toxin exposure. Your thyroid is extremely sensitive to toxins in the environment. These include fluoride and chlorine in tap water. Both compete with iodine, which the thyroid needs. Pesticides and herbicides, endocrine disruptors that interfere with hormone signaling. Heavy metals, like mercury, aluminum, and lead, which accumulate over time and damage thyroid cells. Many of us accumulate these toxins over decades without knowing it. After 50, the body becomes less efficient at detoxing them, meaning they start to interfere with your thyroid more aggressively. 4. Gut health and autoimmune disease. Your gut and thyroid are closely linked. Over 70% of your immune system lives in the gut, and if your gut becomes leaky due to poor diet, stress, or medications, it can lead to autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Hashimoto's is the most common cause of hypothyroidism in women over 50. But here's the thing, Hashimoto's doesn't always show up in your thyroid hormones at first. You could have normal TSH and T4 levels, but elevated antibodies, like TPO or TG antibodies, indicating that your immune system is attacking your thyroid. Unfortunately, most standard physicals don't test for these antibodies, so many people go undiagnosed for years. If you have a family history of autoimmune diseases, like type 1 diabetes, celiac, or rheumatoid arthritis, your chances of developing Hashimoto's increase significantly after 50. 5. Poor sleep and hormonal decline. After menopause, your levels of estrogen and progesterone drop, and these hormones directly affect how your thyroid functions. Low progesterone can make you more sensitive to stress, and low estrogen can reduce your thyroid hormone receptors' effectiveness. This creates a situation where your thyroid is working, but your body isn't hearing the signals. That's why so many women over 50 say they just don't feel right, but can't explain why. Add in poor sleep, which is common during and after menopause, and you have the perfect storm for thyroid dysfunction. Talking to your doctor the right way. If you suspect thyroid issues after 50, you need to be your own advocate. Here's how to have that conversation with your doctor. Ask for a full thyroid panel, not just TSH. This should include free T3, free T4, reverse T3, TPO and TG antibodies. Explain your symptoms clearly. Keep a symptom journal for 2 to 4 weeks. Describe your energy, mood, digestion, skin, sleep, weight changes, and menstrual or menopausal symptoms. If your doctor resists testing more thoroughly, get a second opinion or work with a functional medicine practitioner who specializes in hormone health. What you can do: natural support for thyroid health after 50. By now, you understand how easily thyroid dysfunction can be missed, especially after 50, and how symptoms are often brushed off as normal aging. But now, let's focus on what you can do to take back control of your thyroid health. This is not just about pills or prescriptions. This is about building a lifestyle that gives your thyroid the nutrients, rest, and balance it needs to work correctly, no matter your age. 1. Start with the right foods. Your thyroid feeds off specific nutrients. What you eat can either help it thrive or slow it down. Best foods for thyroid support. Sea vegetables like kelp, nori, and wakame, great sources of natural iodine. Brazil nuts, one of the best natural sources of selenium. Pumpkin seeds, loaded with zinc, which supports hormone balance. Fatty fish like salmon and sardines, rich in omega-3s and help reduce inflammation. Eggs contain iodine and selenium. Bone broth supports gut health and immune balance, both important in autoimmune thyroid conditions. Dark leafy greens, full of antioxidants and magnesium. Try to build your meals around these foods. Focus on whole, unprocessed ingredients, and avoid skipping meals, which can put additional stress on your thyroid and adrenals. 2. Watch out for thyroid suppressors. Some foods and substances interfere with thyroid function, especially if consumed in large amounts. Foods to limit or avoid. Soy, especially unfermented soy like tofu and soy milk. It can interfere with thyroid hormone absorption. Gluten. For people with Hashimoto's, gluten can increase autoimmune activity due to its similarity to thyroid tissue. Processed foods, high in additives, sugars, and inflammatory oils that stress your metabolism. Excess raw cruciferous vegetables, like raw broccoli, cabbage, and kale. In large amounts, they can reduce iodine uptake. Cook them to reduce this effect. 3. Smart supplementation. As you age, even a perfect diet might not be enough due to declining absorption. So targeted supplements can be a game changer, but always check with your healthcare provider first. Here are the most important. Selenium, 200 micrograms per day, reduces thyroid antibodies and supports conversion of T4 to T3. Zinc, 20 to 30 mg/day, especially if you notice thinning hair or low immune function. Vitamin D3, 2000 to 5000 IU/day, crucial for autoimmunity and hormone health. Magnesium glycinate, helps with muscle function, energy, and reducing stress. Ashwagandha, an adaptogen that supports the adrenal-thyroid connection, especially helpful in hypothyroidism. Iodine, with caution, only if you are deficient. Too much can actually worsen autoimmune thyroid issues. If you're taking thyroid medication, remember, it should always be taken on an empty stomach, 30 to 60 minutes before food or supplements, and never with calcium or iron, as they block absorption. 4. Restore your gut health. Your gut is the gateway to hormone balance. If your gut is inflamed or leaky, it can set off a chain reaction that leads to autoimmunity and thyroid dysfunction. Here's how to support it. Eat fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, and kefir. Include fiber-rich vegetables to feed healthy gut bacteria. Avoid frequent antibiotics, NSAIDs, and processed foods. Try a probiotic supplement with a variety of strains. Consider a GI map or stool test if you have ongoing gut issues, bloating, or IBS symptoms. 5. Manage stress like your health depends on it, because it does. We talked earlier about the cortisol-thyroid connection. After 50, chronic stress becomes one of the most powerful thyroid disruptors. Here's how to lower your stress hormones naturally. Practice deep breathing or meditation daily. Even 5 minutes can help. Get quality sleep. Aim for 7 to 8 hours every night. Walk outside in nature, especially in the morning light. Prioritize joy. Do things that make you feel alive again. Art, music, talking to a good friend. 6. Track your progress. Keep a journal of how you feel each week. Note energy levels, mood, sleep quality, digestion, weight, and skin/hair health. Ask your doctor to retest your thyroid panel every 6 months if you're managing a condition. If you're on thyroid medication, monitor closely and adjust with guidance, not on your own. If you feel stuck, consider working with a functional medicine doctor who looks at the root cause, not just the symptoms. 7. Don't ignore your body's messages. The biggest mistake people over 50 make is ignoring their body's subtle messages. If you feel tired, foggy, unmotivated, or not like yourself, don't just brush it off. These may be early warning signs from your thyroid, and catching them early could change your life. The longer thyroid dysfunction goes unaddressed, the harder it is to reverse. But the good news is, you can still take action. You can still reclaim your health, your energy, and your sharp mind. All it takes is the right information and the willingness to listen to your body.